What if Deku had the elements? Part 1. Now, before I do get into it, I would like to shout out my editor's channel, Alpha Anime. He's trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before November, and I want to help him do that. So go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Top link in the description. And now, getting into this what if. Izuku is born with his mother in a hospital, as they would then travel out to the forest where Izuku would live all of his life. He wouldn't know anything about technology, only stories about it, as Izuku was a very precious child to all of society. Now, Izuku wouldn't know about quirks, he wouldn't know about anything. At the age of 4, on his birthday, his mother would tell him that very, very soon, he will unlock a unique power to just their family. And this power is the power of the elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Izuku would wonder what this power would be and what he'd do with it, as his mother would just look at him as she would start to explain. Izuku, the power you will receive in just a few short days or weeks. It's the power unique to only our family. You can control fire, water, earth, and air. We have this power. It's somehow being passed on through generations. We use it to protect the earth from any danger. Izuku would look up at his mother with hopeful eyes, thinking he can protect people out there, but that's all he knew about. Protect people out there. He's never seen another person besides his mother. The only person he's had talked to was his mother. So Izuku would then unlock his power a few days later, to which Inko would decide to train him, seeing as before his dad died, he taught Inko how to train their child. Now, at the age of 10, Izuku would ask his mother a very, very hard question for her to answer. Izuku would walk up to her day as he would then look at her as he would ask, "What happened to Dad, Mom?" Now, Inko would look down at Izuku with sorry eyes as she would then answer, "He died protecting us. A man known as All for One. He tried to attack us. Your father was able to stop him, though, but it cost him his life. That's the only reason we're in hiding now. If All for One didn't know of our existence, we'd be living happily in the city and you'd have many friends. But since All for One exists, we have to live out here, training in solitude, so he doesn't come by to try and kill you and me." Izuku would nod his head, kind of scared, wondering what or who this All for One would be. But from there, he would then say that he'll get revenge on this All for One person. However, Inko would then tell him something very important to his journey to saving the planet and just being the protector of Earth. She would tell him that he cannot trust anybody unless she tells him that he can trust them. All for One has many different abilities and powers, ones that could possibly prove fatal to Izuku by doing many assortments of things. So Inko doesn't want Izuku to fall victim into one of All for One's traps. Now, Izuku would end up just knowing this as he would train for 5 more years, training and honing his skills to become a very, very strong fighter. Now, Inko would know All for One doesn't know what Izuku looks like. In this series, he has black hair instead of green. Now, from there, Inko would tell the black-haired Izuku to walk into the city, to where he would have to find and all the things that he needed on his adventure. He would have to find UA, where he would be going, as one of Inko's longtime friends, Nezu, had already granted him into UA with a different name, of course. All for One knew that Inko was going to have a son named Zuku, seeing that he was able to extract the memories from Izuku's father before killing him. And now, before I do get to the rest of this what if, let's finish up this quick ad break. Now that the ad is over, let's get back into this what if. Now, Izuku would end up finding UA, but on his way, he would start to hear an explosion as he would see smoke coming up from a random alleyway. Izuku would walk over there as he would see somebody trapped in this type of weird goo thing. Izuku would be confused as he would just walk up to it with random people telling him to stay back, trying to grab him, with Izuku just shrugging them off, just glaring at them, as he would then just tell them that they don't tell him what to do. As Izuku would make it up to this sludge villain, as he would then just put his hand out to the sludge villain, making it flat, with the sludge villain just wondering, what's he doing? As Izuku would put his flat hand back and push it forward with a huge amount of force, which would cause the airflow around him to instantly just blow right into the sludge villain, as the sludge villain would basically just be split in two from the in the force of this air attack, as Izuku would grab this kid's hand and pull him out. This person would of course be Bakugo Katsuki. Izuku would then just tell him that he saved him and for that kid to go back home, as Izuku would start to walk back to his house, as the heroes would try to stop him, telling him that was very dangerous and he could have gotten killed. Izuku would just look at them saying, "The hell do you think you are to tell me what I should do? I can do whatever the hell I want." As Izuku would walk away, just wondering if he should have been. Sorry about that interruption. Now, where was I? Izuku would be walking back to his house, wondering if he should have been rude to those three people. Sure, he still remembers the incident where his mother told him not to trust anybody, but they looked as if they were trying to save that kid, so maybe he should have trusted them. He's really confused. Now, if you're wondering, oh god, he's making Zuko a big jerk again. No, I'm not. He's just going to be that way towards people he doesn't know or trust, because stranger danger, I guess. But Izuku is nice to his mother and his friends that he'll make along the way. Now, Izuku from there would then train for 10 more months as he would turn 16, as he would go into high school. I know the ages are a bit inaccurate, I'm just going to say they're those ages. Izuku would walk up to the UA gate, just wondering what this next chapter in his life is going to have in store for him, as he would then walk into the classroom. Now, if you're wondering about this, Izuku would have already made it through recommendations. Nezu didn't want Izuku to fully show off his power yet, knowing that anybody could be watching. Now, Izuku would then just be sitting there, looking out of the windows, seeing people just use different attacks on robots, wondering what would happen, when all of a sudden the ground starts to shake, as Izuku would see a massive robot, as he would very faintly see a girl just screaming for help under rubble of this robot that it knocked down. Izuku would smash this window, as using the air he would be able to fly over there tremendous speeds, as he would then just put fire into his hands, sending a huge torrent of fire right at the robot's head, as the robot would have the fire go into it, as its wires would start to burn, as it would start shaking, as its head would then blow up, falling backwards, as Izuku would just be smiling that he had saved this girl's life. Izuku would slowly but surely fall down, as he would pick up the rock with his strength, throwing it over to a random crushed building, picking the girl up and taking her to where he thought the teachers were. Now, his mother did tell him who his teachers were going to be and what they looked like, so Izuku knew who to trust at UA and who not to. Sure, he's still going to have a lot of time to think who to trust in his class. Now, 2 weeks would pass from there, as Izuku would go into UA because it was time for his first ever class there. Izuku would just be sitting at his desk as people would start to walk in. Now, from there, Izuku would just be sitting there as a caterpillar-like thing would inch into the classroom, as it would then cause a lot of people to get scared as if it was a villain or something, as somebody would then pop out of the back of it, revealing their teacher, Shota Aizawa, otherwise known as Eraserhead. Izuku would just be wondering what's going to happen next, as Aizawa would tell them to put these uniforms on and go down to some type of training field A to be exact, and that's where they're going to be testing their quirks. Now, once they would get changed into their PE uniforms and go down there, Aizawa would throw a ball to Izuku, telling him to use his quirk. Izuku would just grab the ball, throw it up in the air, and send a huge amount of wind force, which air, using his power of air, would send this ball flying into the air miles and miles away, as Aizawa would just look shocked at this, as the ball would just go straight into the atmosphere and into orbit, as Aizawa would just look at it saying, "Infinity. Nice job, Izuku." Or, let's say his name's Deku, that's his code name. Aizawa would say, "Nice job, Deku." Now, the reason they can't say Izuku is because, remember, like I said earlier, All For One knows Izuku's name. He doesn't know what he looks like, but sure, if someone named Izuku, he's obviously going to kill them because he doesn't want to take a chance. So Aizawa would just say, "Nice job, Deku." And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy part 1 of this new series, What If Deku Had the Elements? And remember, go subscribe to Alpha Anime if you have not. I thank you all for watching once again, and goodbye!